Hey guys, welcome back to our movie summary here. Today we're diving into an action-adventure mystery movie called Red One, released in 2024. At the beginning of the story, we are introduced to a little boy named Jack. It was Christmas Day, so Jack invited his friends to his house. Jack told his friends that there is no such thing as Santa, and that the gifts we receive on Christmas are actually given to us by our parents. When Jack's uncle arrived, Jack asked him why he lies about Santa, saying that there is no person or magician by that name. In response, his uncle said that Santa is something invisible to the eye. The scene shifts and we see Jack 30 years later. By then, he has become a troublemaker who always engages in wrongdoing instead of honest work. He earns money through illegal activities. One day, Jack needed to enter a geological company, but to get inside, he required the manager's identity card. To achieve this, he caused a short circuit, distracting everyone. Then, he stole the manager's identity card and entered the company. When no one was around, he snuck into the monitoring room, inserted a USB into their system to steal data, and quietly left. The scene shifts again, and we see a Santa Claus in a mall. Next to Santa is a man named Callum, who acts as Santa's bodyguard. Here it is revealed that Santa has a code name like Red One, and some people also call him Nick. Callum was carefully checking all the items brought by the children. If anyone caused trouble, Callum would drive them away from Santa. All this preparation was for the next day, Christmas Day. After interacting with the children, Callum took Santa to another location. He brought Santa to an army base. Inside the base camp, Santa went to his sleigh, got on, and departed for the North Pole. His sleigh traveled faster than a rocket. Within moments, he covered miles and reached the North Pole. At the same time, Santa's location began to appear on Jack's system via satellite tracking. After identifying this location, Jack started tracking it further. He sells it to his dealer, in return for which he gets a handsome amount of money. Meanwhile, Santa enters a world after opening a barrier, a world unknown to humans, one that no one knows about. You can consider it a magical world. Here there was a lot of preparation going on because Christmas was the next day and gifts needed to be distributed to children. While Santa was exercising, Callum approached him with his resignation letter. Santa asked him why he wanted to resign. Callum explained that despite their efforts, the number of naughty children was increasing day by day. He couldn't bear to see their behavior anymore, so he wanted to resign to get relief from all this. However, Santa insisted they shouldn't give up and must keep trying. Callum replied that they had been trying for nearly 500 years and declared that the next day would be his last Christmas, after which he would resign. Later, Callum went outside to check the surroundings and noticed intruders heading toward the North Pole. These people had somehow learned about Santa's magical world. Using weapons, they broke the barrier and entered. Sometime later, Callum noticed the lights in Santa's room turning on and off. Alarmed, he contacted the system to ask about Santa's whereabouts. When everyone started looking for Santa, they discovered he was missing. Callum realized that the intruders had kidnapped Santa and were taking him away in a high-tech van. Callum tried his best and managed to reach the van. However, upon checking inside, he found no one there. At that moment, he saw a plane flying overhead, with Santa inside. The intruders had tricked them and successfully kidnapped Santa. Zoe, the director, asked Callum what was happening and ordered him to find Santa immediately, as there were only 24 hours left until Christmas. She warned that if they failed to find Santa, the situation would worsen drastically. Callum called the system to inquire about the intruders' identities. The response was unclear, but they identified someone tracking their location, Jack, who was currently asleep in a bathtub. At that moment, Jack's ex-wife Maria called him, requesting that he pick up their son Dylan from school since she couldn't make it. Jack complied and went to the school to pick up Dylan, who had been punished earlier for deflating another child's bicycle tires. Upon reaching home, Dylan told Jack about an upcoming function, essentially inviting his father to attend. However, Jack ignored him. Maria scolded Jack, reminding him to at least give their son some time. Jack dismissed her concerns, claiming he was busy, and left for his apartment. Upon entering, he discovered some men inside his home. These men had come to capture Jack and were equipped with a special kind of gun. Although they tried to capture Jack, he managed to escape by using their own gun to freeze them. However, he didn't get far before someone named Eve appeared and froze him. They brought him back to the room where Zoe revived him. When Jack regained consciousness, Zoe questioned him about someone, but Jack claimed he didn't know who she was talking about. After thorough interrogation, Zoe became convinced Jack was telling the truth. Jack was absolutely right, but he had no idea about the magnitude of the chaos he had caused. Now, to question Jack further, they prepare him and take him to the North Pole. When Jack sees strange and bizarre things at the North Pole, he realizes that the magical world truly exists. The stories about Bigfoots are not just tales, but reality. Meanwhile, Zoe takes Jack to a separate location for interrogation. When she pulls out a USB and shows it to Jack, he understands what Zoe is talking about. Zoe asks him, "After tracking our location, to whom did you send it?" Jack replies, "I have no idea. Everything happens online, and those people are strangers to me." At that moment, Callum arrives and summons Dartzilla to extract the truth. Dartzilla grabs Jack and threatens to kill him. Scared, Jack says, "I really don't know who they were, but I can track their location." He then asks Zoe for his phone. After checking his phone, Jack tells Zoe that those people are currently in Germany. The scene shifts and we see Santa Claus. Here we are introduced to a girl named Grala, who through her associates has kidnapped Santa. When Santa regains consciousness, Grala says to him, "The era of bad people has come to an end." She presses a button and begins draining Santa's powers. Grala intended to use Santa's powers to execute her evil plans. The scene shifts again, showing Callum taking Jack to a toy shop. After collecting some small items, Callum opens a door. This door acts as a portal. Using these doors, Callum was able to travel from one place to another. In no time, these people managed to reach Germany. Here, Callum places a toy on the ground and uses a gadget in his hand to perform some magic, causing the toy to transform into a car. Seeing this, Jack is utterly astonished. Following Callum's instructions, Jack arrives at a location where they were supposed to meet someone. The person to whom Jack sold the data is introduced here. We see 3 individuals who serve as bodyguards for that person. Before meeting him, they must defeat the bodyguards. The bodyguards claim you cannot meet him, prompting Callum to showcase his powers. He uses his ability to grow large and shrink small, defeating the bodyguards with ease. Within moments, he leaves them all incapacitated. Finally, he meets the broker, the same person to whom Jack sold the data. The broker pretends to be innocent, but Jack confronts him, saying, "I was the one who sold you the data last night." Callum asks Jack whom he sold the data to and urges the broker to reveal the name. Instead of speaking, the broker writes the name in the sand. It's Ryla. Jack utters the name, which allows Ryla to overhear their conversation and learn their location. Within moments, Ryla takes control of the broker's body and speaks through him. She tells Callum and the others, "You all have worked hard for many years. Now it's time for you to rest. This Christmas, I will punish all those children who lie, break the law, and deceive others by pretending to be good." As she finishes speaking, the weather clears up entirely. Suddenly, a bus emerges from the depths of the ocean. As Callum approaches the bus, 3 snowmen step out of it. These snowmen were indeed sent by Grala. Now Jack, who was present there, runs away with the broker because the broker was their last hope. Meanwhile, Callum fights with the snowmen and tries to kill them, but they just wouldn't stay dead. They kept reviving themselves and healing. During the fight, one of the snowmen approaches and freezes the broker. On the other side, Callum pulls out the carrot attached to a snowman's nose. As soon as he does this, the snowman melts and collapses, meaning that if the carrot is removed from their nose, they will be destroyed automatically. At that moment, another snowman moves to attack Jack, but Callum quickly pulls out its carrot, causing it to disappear in an instant. After some time, Zoe arrives with her special team. However, since the broker was frozen, they had no evidence left. At that moment, Callum gets an idea. He checks his system to find out where magical powers are being used. He discovers that in a corner of Germany, someone has been consistently using powers. The one using these powers is none other than Santa's brother, Krampus. Following this, Callum takes Jack with him to meet Krampus in his territory. After some time, they reach a specific location where they find a door. Opening opening the door, they use a portal to enter the underworld. At that very moment, some people arrive and capture them, taking them to Krampus. Here we see Krampus playing a slap game with his friends. No one can tolerate his slaps, and no one but him can win this game. When Krampus sees Callum, he gets a little angry and asks why Callum came there despite being strictly forbidden, and he says that you are strictly forbidden to come here. Why did you come here? To this, Callum replies that your brother has been kidnapped, and I strongly suspect that your beloved Grala is the one who kidnapped Santa. I just want to know if she came here. After this, Krampus says that she gave me a gift years ago, and she came here to take that gift. When Callum asks about the gift, Krampus reveals that it was a simple glass orb. Hearing this, Callum is a bit surprised and wonders what she plans to do with that orb. At the same time, Krampus declares that they cannot leave now. Callum insists that he must leave to find Santa, as tomorrow is Christmas, but Krampus refuses to listen. Just then, Jack comes up with an idea. He suggests to Krampus that Callum wants to play a slapping game with him. If Krampus wins, they will stay, but if they win, they should be allowed to leave. Reluctantly, Krampus agrees to play, as his pride was at stake in front of everyone. The game begins with Callum slapping Krampus first, but it has no effect on him. However, when Krampus slaps Callum, he is thrown far away and ends up with a swollen face. By the first round, Callum feels dizzy. In the second round, Jack gives Callum a gadget to wear on his hand. This time, when Callum slaps Krampus, he is thrown far away. Taking advantage of the chaos, Callum enlarges two robots and orders them to cover their escape. While the robots fight Krampus, Jack and Callum manage to escape and flee in their car. As they drive through the roads of Germany, they come across a piano in the middle of the road. It seems odd to see a piano left out at night. On top of the piano, there is a gift with Jack's name on it. Jack is scared and refuses to open it, so Callum opens the gift. Inside, he finds a glass orb. At the same time, Dylan calls Jack and asks why he sent this gift if he wasn't coming to the festival. When Dylan examines the orb, its color changes and he disappears. Jack, determined to find his son, also takes the orb and disappears. When Jack regains consciousness, he finds himself trapped inside the glass orb with his son. Grala, meanwhile, begins creating more glass orbs. Callum calls Joey to inform him that Jack and his son are missing, but they still have no clue about Santa's location. Inside the orb, Jack comforts his son, promising that someone will rescue them soon. Apologizing to his son for his past behavior, Jack realizes his mistakes, which somehow breaks the glass, freeing them both. Joey had planted a tracker inside Jack, which helps Callum and his team locate him. Tracking the location, they discover that Grala has been hiding in the North Pole with Santa. Grala attempts to escape with a sleigh full of glass orbs to distribute as gifts, planning to kidnap children. When Jack and Callum confront her, she throws them aside. Jack clings to the sleigh and disables it, causing it to crash back in the North Pole instead of the human world. Callum frees Santa, who regains consciousness and is unharmed. Grala reveals her true witch form and threatens to take Santa. Before she can attack, Krampus arrives and begins fighting her. Grala overpowers Krampus, but is ultimately defeated when Santa calls for magical creatures, who trap her in a glass orb using her own dark magic. With only a few hours left before Christmas ends, Santa and his team, including Jack and his son, distribute gifts to children around the world. Witnessing Santa's work firsthand, Jack finally believes in his existence. Callum decides not to resign and continues working alongside Santa, marking the end of this adventurous tale.